Hello and welcome to IGN Anime Club episode 45. Yay, anime.
Yay, anime.
I'm Callie Blakey filling in for Miranda Sanchez, and with me is the queen of JRPGs, Megan Sullivan.
Ew.
And the Pirate King himself, Mike Mamone.
Hey, what's up?
Our newest lab member. Welcome, welcome. So let's just go right into it because we've been watching a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Been catching up on some of the recent season. I know I was behind. I don't know about you.
I was super behind.
Yeah. So Megan, let's start with you.
So this weekend, I binge watched Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash because I fell way behind on that one.
Yeah.
Also known as, no, seriously, what would you do if you were stuck in an RPG and had to survive? And this is the kind of show that I really enjoy, but I have a hard time recommending to people because it's so slowly paced. Like, it's such a slow burn.
Right.
But I think it's really interesting, the characters and how they struggle and how they deal with tragedy and how they deal with really strange circumstances. So I really enjoy it. I think that Haruhiro is a really good protagonist. He's well-rounded, but he's not perfect, which I like. Like, he's not, let's go save the day. Come on, everybody. Like, he doubts himself a lot as leader because he was sort of thrust into this role. And I think that everyone hates Runta. I like Runta. He's the Dark Knight who's always very arrogant.
The redheaded one?
The redheaded one who everyone hates, but he's one of those characters, like, you tune in every week because you kind of want him to get his comeuppance, or you know he's going to screw stuff up for people. You're like,
I love
what are you gonna do
characters like that.
Yeah, it's like, slight tangent, but like, the finale of Downton Abbey happened over the weekend, and the whole reason that I watched the entire series was because I wanted Mary to get hit by a truck. So I feel like Runta's that character. Like, I kind of tune in because of him. Even though everyone hates him, I'm like, yeah, but he makes the story so much more interesting.
Right.
So I'm still enjoying that. I think
I'm
it's
glad.
on episode 9.
Yeah,
9
because
is...
we started that show a couple episodes back when we did like the winter preview. We were talking about how like, wow, it took a really long time to ramp up. But I'm glad you're enjoying it. Like, when do you think it kind of picks up a little bit?
Definitely episode 4. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's an event that happens. And one of the reasons I like this show and its slow pace is in other shows, when some sort of tragedy strikes, everyone cries for like 5 seconds and they're like, but my heart must go on. And it takes these characters like 3 or 4 episodes to get over it. And I appreciate that. Like, it's not just, well, that sucked, let's keep going. It's part of the reality that the show is based in. So I really think about episode 4, it gets going.
Okay, good. So, yeah, if you're like me and you weren't sure whether to give the show a chance, it's very pretty. Like, it's very visually beautiful.
Yeah, it's got that watercolor
Maybe
look.
give it till episode 4.
Yeah.
And if you still don't like it by then, maybe not.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It reminds me of Rokka no Yusha, where it takes a long time to get into the meat of the story, but once it does, it really takes off. So if you're the patient type, I highly recommend it.
Sweet.
All right. What about you, Mike?
You know me. So I finally, I binge watched last week Tokyo Ghoul. Finally.
Wow.
It's 24 episodes, I think. And recommended by Blair. And I love that.
Blair Kelly, one of our video editors here at IGN.
Yes, big anime fan.
Oh, yeah.
Big anime fan.
Oh, big anime fan. And I loved it. It took me, actually, what's great about it, I knew coming in that was super gory. And then Miranda mentioned she kind of fell off because it was censored so much. And I didn't really see that at all.
What do you mean censored?
Censored.
Censored.
Censored, sorry,
I was like, centered on what?
On the
okay,
gore.
so it was censored too much.
Yeah, it was censored way too much. And I didn't really see that until further into the anime because it got really it was things happen and I'm like, whoa, and then it gets like half the screen is dark. I'm like, huh.
Oh.
I wonder if they did that on purpose or is that a huge censorship that's going on?
Yeah.
And it's definitely.
Did you have to take like breaks to just have a moment and decompress? It's an intense anime.
It is. Well, I mean, not really. I digged it a lot. Also, I love Kaneki, the main character, and this literally happens in the first 2 episodes, so it's not really a spoiler. And it's pretty much what makes the whole anime. Is he has a human side and he has a ghoul side.
Right.
And then throughout the anime, he fights his demonic ghoul side because he wants to stay human. He doesn't want to eat humans.
Humans, yeah. The first 2 episodes is all about that. Like, they're trying to force feed him, and he's like, no, don't.
Oof.
Yeah, so seeing his just watching him debate between just trying to stay alive and trying to keep to his humanity it's really great throughout and then Also, like it reminds me of One Punch Man a little bit, only because ghouls, like they're known to the public. Like the people know what they are, and they have a task force in place to take care of ghouls. And they go about their day not worrying about getting killed by a ghoul, and like yet people get killed all the time.
I would still be really worried.
Yeah.
Even if there was a task force.
Yeah, I only watched the first 3 or 4 episodes, but I noticed that where people were pretty casual about the fact that people are just being eaten by ghouls.
Yeah.
There's no sense of panic about that. So
No.
I'm like, all right, I guess that's how you deal
Maybe
with
they're
that kind
just
of thing.
like, this might as well happen.
Yeah, they'll be like exactly. They'll be like on the news. Oh, another ghoul attack today. I'm like,
Oh no.
oh my god.
Tokyo's had so
What can
many
I do?
attacks, though. Godzilla and ghouls and
Yeah,
zombies.
they're pretty
Yeah.
used to it.
But yeah, Tokyo Ghoul was a great binge watch. I loved it so much. I hope there's more. But yeah, just seeing. Oh, and also there's a character in there, Shu, who's a ghoul, and he reminds me a lot of Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter. If you watch that, in the
How?
fact that Hisoka like just. Okay, he's a pedophile, pretty much, in a Hunter x Hunter, and then but he likes like strength,
Yeah.
and then in Tokyo Ghoul, Shu Tsukiyama, he's a ghoul, so he loves the taste of humans, and then because Kaneki is a special type of like mix,
Right.
like he's even more tasty to him.
So
then he
it's like this
he gets
full-on creeper thing.
Yep, super creepy. But
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
he does. He adds a little twist to the anime, which is great. But yeah, Tokyo Ghoul, binge that over the week. Great anime.
Recommend?
Yes,
Yeah.
totally recommend. If you're into shonen and you're into just like fantasy type modern, with a bunch of like gore, which honestly I couldn't find another place to like that was showing Tokyo Ghoul without the gore. Like I went to Funimation. And then they were showing the Hulu video player. So I was like,
Alright.
okay,
Interesting.
That's
cool,
interesting.
thanks. Well, yeah, so if you can find one, probably DVD, I guess.
Legally.
Yeah.
Remember,
that'd be,
kids, support the industry.
Yes, that'd be great to check out. But honestly, even though there was censored moments, it didn't take away from the story. Which
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah. And yeah.
You watched a lot, so you have more on your list.
Yeah, so now that I'm done with Tokyo Ghoul, I've decided to now. There's a lot of episodes and there's a lot of seasons, but Fate, the Fate series.
Oh, yes.
So
Saber.
Yes. So yeah, I didn't know who Saber was. I seen her before. Like my friend
She's
has
like
like
everyone's
an
waifu.
Android of her.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, this girl's chick this girl's cool. But
You IRL typoed.
yeah, right. I did. But had no idea who she was, and then I saw it. I'm like, oh, this is the series she's from. And then so Fate Zero, which is a prequel to Fate Stay.
Yeah, so there's Fate Stay Night,
2006.
Unlimited Blade Works, and there's regular old Fate Stay Night,
Yes.
which everyone's like, I just watched Unlimited Blade
That's
Works.
what I keep hearing, yeah.
And then there's Fate Zero. There's also visual novels. I think someone on the Facebook group at facebook.com/group/IGN Anime Club, the official group, you should
Boom.
definitely join because there's lots of interesting discussions. And
Yeah.
so one of the discussions I saw weeks and weeks ago was about like which order should you watch Fate in. And I wish I had written that down for this episode for when we're talking about Fate. But yeah, there's a lot going on with that series.
Yeah.
You see Saber everywhere.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But what's basically the gist? Like, what is the hook for people to check out Fate?
Well,
Besides Saber being
my friend
great.
is actually watching that right now, and his main recommendation why you should watch is because the fights are so great
The fight scenes?
in Fate, and also the what's cool about it is that they incorporate like history. So like there's these 7 mages, and who compete in this Holy Grail contest. It's pretty much a contest. And what happens is they summon servants, and each of these servants has their own class. So you have Saber, Archer, Lancer, Berserker, Rider, Assassin, and Ruler. And so they use these servants who are teleported from like another part of history as like their fighting companion. And the winner gets the Holy Grail, and then which gives them a wish for anything. I haven't got as far as that yet, but yeah, it's just like so. Saber is King Arthur,
Yeah.
and then there's Alex the Great is in there, and Gilgamesh is in there. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And they're all fighting with these cool. I mean, definitely
Like alternate universe history,
exactly.
basically.
Yeah, definitely not realistic, but because that'd be boring.
Kind of cool. Kind of cool if you're into history and you
Yeah.
like
seen that.
You recognize the
And-
names, you recognize them. It's like an alternate history thing is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
I enjoy stuff like that. But
Yeah, so I'm working on that, and then hopefully to get to Fate Stays, like 2 seasons of like almost 70 episodes or something like that. So I'll get there.
Yeah,
But,
binge watching in front of you.
yeah, I know it was probably the wrong one to binge watch, but I've been meaning to watch Fate, for a while.
Yeah.
And then I also watched Boy and the Beast over the weekend, which is another lovely movie.
Yes.
yeah. Check out Miranda's review
Yes.
on IGN.com. It's if you just search Boy and the Beast IGN. Miranda reviewed that. It's really great.
Yes.
Her review's really great. She also liked
Yes.
the movie.
So definitely watch that.
Yeah, and you enjoyed it too.
Oh yeah. But yeah, it's one of those movies where, and it was 2 hours. It was surprisingly long, but it didn't feel long for me when I'm watching it. And I think we talked about Boy and the Beast already in our movies episode, which you can watch on IGN and YouTube.
Yeah.
But
We've gone more in depth with
exactly,
Boy and the Beast.
Boy and the Beast. But yeah, it's a great movie. If you love Mamoru Hosada's work, which I have to also watch Summer
Wars.
Summer Wars and the Wolf
Children.
Wolf
yes,
Children.
Wolf Children.
Yeah.
Now,
I
now
just watched Summer Wars, by
Oh,
the way,
yeah?
a couple of weekends ago, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Two really like highly recommended, critically acclaimed films.
So I need to get on that.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
Hosoda's done that before. Yeah.
Yeah, he directed and wrote the script.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So yeah, definitely check that out when you can.
Great.
Yeah. That was my week.
You watched a lot. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon, so
Yeah, that too.
but I caught up on Erased finally.
Yay.
And I've basically been talking nonstop about this show to anyone who will listen about how you should watch the show. Watch the
so
show.
well
It's
done.
so well done. A couple of our friends who watch some anime but aren't super into like anime tropes got really into Erased, just because it's a very serious subject matter treated very gracefully, very well. I watched up to episode 9, which is the most recent episode as of this airing, as of this taping. And I liked it because it was a nice respite from kind of the intensity of episode 8.
Yeah.
There's a scene in episode 8, and this isn't a spoiler, but there's a scene of like, it's maybe 5 seconds or 10 seconds of just like little flashes of memory that is just so powerful of Kaio's memory. So yeah, I watched 3 episodes last night and I just couldn't stop. I was like, I'll go to bed, and it was like 1 a.m. and I was still watching. Please check that out. Of course, when I recommend the show, I always say, if child abuse is something that that you think you'll have a problem handling, proceed with caution. That's just one of the.
It's not super graphic, but it's just enough so that you know that there's something really wrong.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like graphic depictions, but it is super heavy, and so if that's something that you don't know if you'll be able to handle very well, I would be cautious about it.
Without spoiling anything for that show, by the way, I like that there's like different possible red herrings. Like every time I think I know who the culprit is, there's something that's like thrown my way, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's not, or maybe it's this person.
Yeah. So it's evolving from like the child abuse thing. It's also sort of a mystery, like a serial killer mystery. I didn't really recap what Erased was because I've talked about it so many times. But I do really like that. Like I was so sure it was one person, and then stuff was happening, and I was like, wait, what? No, that doesn't make sense. Okay, now I have to totally reevaluate. Yeah. And then the character who's introduced at the beginning of the show, Yuki-san.
Yeah.
Kind of sort of weird adult who hangs out with kids, but it's not really clear if he's just socially awkward or not socially awkward.
I like him.
There's something up with him though. He got shifty eyes.
That's
so
true.
I really like how they're portraying him almost through Satoru's perspective. Like Satoru really likes Yuki, but there's something weird there, and it's not clear what it is. And so sometimes I'm like, oh, it was Yuki, and sometimes I'm like, maybe not.
Yeah,
wasn't he imprisoned?
He was imprisoned.
In the like current timeline.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do want to say that if you're going to have a discussion about Erased, I've had to delete spoilers, a couple of possible spoilers a couple of times in the Facebook group. So also with pictures are at the top of the post. So please do not post any spoilerish pictures or just be very cautious about spoilers, because people got really upset. A couple of people unintentionally possibly spoiled things for people on the
Yeah.
latest episodes, and we want to avoid that. We want you to discuss Erased because it's so worth discussing, but at the same time, be very, very careful.
Yeah.
Don't post spoilerish pictures. They will show up at the top of the post.
Yeah, don't post the pictures. You can do like the several indented lines to kind of bury the post.
Or even a
for
link
spoilers.
too. A link to a page or something.
Or a link, like if you wrote a blog about it or something, like that's acceptable as well. Just because, especially for a mystery-centered show, we want to be extra cautious. I mean, this applies to every show.
Yeah.
But this one in particular is...
People
there's
really
a lot going on.
really enjoy it. And so we want to make sure that everyone continues to enjoy it.
Yeah. Before we go into the topic, I just want to mention you can also watch Anime Club on the PS4 and Xbox One IGN apps. If you, like me, enjoy watching Crunchyroll on TV, IGN has an app too. And when you're done watching Erased on Crunchyroll, you can switch over to IGN if that's what you prefer. If you like watching on a TV rather than listening on a phone. Or on your computer or something.
Just it works
another
well.
option.
I blew my siblings' minds because I went to our IGN PS4 app, and I was like, "Look, I'm on TV."
Yeah.
That's what you get for making fun of me when I was little and I watched anime. So there.
So yeah, just I know not a lot of people know about the app sometimes. So just a reminder, like if that's what you prefer, if that's your preferred method of watching a podcast or just having it on the background or something, that's there for you. You can also email us at IGN_animeclub@IGN.com. We get a lot of really great emails. Last week, we got 2 emails from 2 different people about what curling is, and I really appreciated that. Because last week we did a sports episode, and we were like, what even is curling?
It's not a puck, I guess. It's a rock.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I learned something.
Put the handle on it.
I love learning. And just also, like, people sending in questions and just wanting to chat about anime. Send those in. You can also tweet at us at #IGNIME, IGNanime. We go through that hashtag sometimes. I think that's about it. Now, moving on.
Yes, our topic of the week.
Our topic of the week is anime school.
Yeah, because anime schools are awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you guys, but I wish I didn't go to regular real life high school. I wish that I went to anime high school. And I remember being like in 8th grade and like reading Fruits Basket, just being like, man, life would be so great if I went to anime high school.
Yeah.
So with that, we kind of brainstormed some of our favorite anime high schools. Not the best, maybe, world to live in, but the best high schools.
Yeah, the best high schools or best academies, or just best schools in general where you're like, man, I want to go there.
Yeah.
I would go back to school if I could go there. Because I always vowed, once I was out of, because I went through high school, college, grad school, and I was like, nope, no more of this. But for some of these, I'd go back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so some of the high schools we'd like to go back to include Mitakihara from Puella, Magi, Madoka, Magica. I wouldn't want to live in that world because it's about to spare. Would recommend the show. Absolutely watch that show if you like to cry. But that school, I remember watching the show, and the scale of the school is very intentional for the show. But it's this giant, futuristic, beautiful, like glass, huge hallways, just gorgeous school. I was like, where'd they get that funding from? Probably the tears of the children.
They sell it in vials.
This is a middle school, not a high school, but the same principle applies. If I had gone to that middle school, I would have at least taken a lot of pictures of it. Maybe life wouldn't have been good, but that's one of the most impressive schools I've seen in an anime, where I've just been like, this is amazingly gorgeous, this animation. I love Shaft animation, which did Madoka. They also did like Nisekoi, stuff like that. And so Shaft has this really cool animation style where sometimes they'll do 2 different art styles. And so that's kind of why this was such an
I would love to go to a
visual school.
Fancy middle school. See, my middle school was literally a block of concrete. I'm not even kidding about that. Like a block of concrete, because that was like the cool 70s look at the time. And it's uglier than sin. Did anyone go to like a pretty school?
No, my school didn't even have a gym.
Wow.
Mine neither. I didn't have a gym either. It was really
They
fun.
built the gym while I was going to the school, and then when I left middle school, then they had a gym. But when I went there, we just had to like change into our gym shoes like haphazardly in the locker hall.
Nice.
Yeah, and our locker halls were really ugly.
Wow.
And
We didn't have lockers.
didn't even have
You didn't
lockers.
have lockers?
I went to a private school, so we had our desk.
Uh-oh. You
Was
had
it one
one
of those
classroom.
desks that you like lift the lid when you put your books in?
Well, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I guess.
But I don't know. When I
yeah.
got to high school, I was like, "What the freak are all the lockers? What?"
The next school this one I personally wouldn't want to go because I can't cook to save my life and I don't enjoy it at all. I like eating, but I don't like cooking.
I love cooking. I totally want to go here.
Is Totsuki Culinary Academy
Oh, yeah.
from Food Wars Shokugeki no Soma.
And everyone has
one-
perfect bodies, too.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. This school's awesome.
I'd get kicked out of that school real quick.
I would get kicked out really quickly. I'd be like Megumi. Like maybe I'd be secretly talented because I haven't really tried to cook because I don't have a lot of time. Like I seriously don't. Like last night I had ranch and broccoli for dinner.
Welcome to Trash Cast.
But for Totsuki, like they have beautiful facilities, everything you could need to be a professional chef. They're like 14 years old. The dorm is really nice. The friends are nice, even though the rivalries are really strong. Like that's a good school. That is
Yeah.
what you're looking for in a high school.
Yeah.
Like a high school where your talents get to be fostered, but you aren't, drowning in homework all the time. They're just
Right.
thinking
And the
about
Yeah.
Food,
udon.
the cafeteria
Yeah.
food will always be amazing. It will never be that garbage that they serve you in school when you're like, I don't even know what this is or how to identify it, where everyone
Yeah.
makes like 5-star meals all the time. Sign me up.
Yeah,
Right?
right?
Amazing.
That totally takes care of the whole cafeteria issue.
Yep.
I like it. The next one is Ouran High School from Ouran High School Host Club. So really, really quickly, before this episode, I was like, oh, what's the name of the school from Ouran High School Host Club? Because I wanted to have all the school names for the episode. And I did some Googling, and then I realized I was an idiot. But yeah, Ouran is a private school for the elite, the wealthy elite.
Yes.
Don't know if I would necessarily want to go there because, as Haruhi always says in that show, damn these rich people.
But tea parties.
But the tea
and-
parties, Megan and I love tea parties.
Yes, we do.
Like little tea sandwiches. And the moral of the show is like, Haruhi comes in and she's like, hey, poor people, like people who don't have a lot of money like you guys drink instant coffee. And they're like, what?
Yeah, their minds
And
are like,
they're broadening their horizons. So, maybe post Haruhi going to Ouran would be nice because everybody would be a little more accepting. But also that school has everything. They have like a nice library and like a stage that comes up into the room and like pianos that are really
What?
nice. It's really nice.
yeah, it's like the Ritz of high schools.
Yeah, for real.
It's the Ritz of high
So
schools.
I hear a lot about this anime. Like, would I like this if I watched it?
So it falls under Ouran falls under like the reverse harem sort of setup, but I think it kind of
It's really humorous,
it
though.
deconstructed it. So it's comedy.
humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoy that show a lot. I just love it. I love the theme song. I love everything about it.
Everything is amazing. By the
Very
way, we
cool.
had one of the voices, Vic Mañana. I forget what character does he play. I just blanked on
oh my
Ouran High
gosh.
School. You know it because
I know
you
it, but
we're super excited
I'm
about
put on
it.
the spot. Tamaki Senpai.
Yes,
In
Tamaki,
the
there it
English
is.
dub, he Vic Mignogna plays Tamaki.
Yes.
And we had him. It's like episode
15.
15. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
What's next?
I said the Academy. I don't know what it's called. I don't have it has a name, but Naruto's ninjutsu school. I would love to learn
yeah.
ninjutsu, and that place looks awesome.
So
So,
be Hokage.
would it be Hokage? Maybe. I don't
I mean, is that what you're going for?
Uh,
Think you're gonna-
maybe.
Oh.
I can't remember.
I mean,
I cannot remember.
why
I'm
not?
so sorry, you guys. I think it is Hokage, but I can't remember
sure.
what the Academy's name is. But that sounds right, Hokage.
If you're
Leaf Village.
if you're watching the video either on the PS4 app or the Xbox One app or anywhere else, we do have some cool Naruto stuff. Speaking
yeah.
of Naruto, we got
Yes.
a Naruto figurine. There's a detailed unboxing on IGN, by the way. Just a side note, because I know a lot of people really like Naruto. But yeah, learning to be a ninja sounds awesome.
I know.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to learn
kunai.
ninjutsu.
When I was in high school, I did a lot of martial arts. Like I went 5 days a week. I was super into it. Imagine that's your whole school.
Yeah, like every day you
Like, that was
learn
just-
how to be a ninja.
That's all you did. I'd be so about that life. Next up is Honan Academy from Prince of Stride. That's a currently airing show from the winter season about basically parkour, but it's about like relay race.
Yeah.
Running. The running show.
Yeah, that's why I put that on there, because I was like, I didn't have any cool sports clubs at my high school, but I would have joined this club in a second. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like the school looked really pretty, especially in the first episode. I had to like rewind sometimes to get the plot because I was just gazing at how pretty
It's
the
beautiful
environments were.
animation.
So I'm a big fan of beautiful schools, like aesthetically pleasing schools, but also just offering a really cool sport that, you know, is kind of appealing for people who maybe aren't into traditional sports. That's really great. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wish we had the funding in the US to do that, but alas.
That would be amazing. Just the Assassin's Creed parkouring
There you go.
academy.
Okay.
you
Assassin's
go.
Creed Academy.
You want to be Ezio? Heck yeah, you do. And then, Megan, I think this was you next on our list.
Is Damon Private Senior High School from Eyeshield 21.
That's the football show.
Yep, because this is a little personal for me. I grew up with brothers who played high school, but they never had a great high school team. So when I was watching Eyeshield 21, I was like, man, if we
A
had
good team.
an awesome running back and an awesome quarterback and like an awesome defensive, offensive lineman,
Oh,
just those three alone, we could win every game. And so
Yeah.
that was one thing where my memories of our quarterback is always Klashevsky's pass incomplete, Klashevsky's pass incomplete. And I'm like,
Oh,
if we
no.
only had like an amazing quarterback and running back, and it'd be so good.
Yeah.
So it was like props to Eyeshield 21
Yeah.
for bringing the football team from zero to hero.
Yeah, and so I used to be super like football, but football actually does bring a lot of funding to schools. It
Yeah.
can be really important. That's why schools invest in football. At least in the U.S., if you're watching and you don't live in the U.S., you probably might not know a lot about American football, but and how the politics of American football work.
Alumni give a lot of money.
Oh,
In
they
fact,
do.
my brother and my sister-in-law, they go to, she's from Cal, he's from University of Oregon, and they go to every single game. They
Yeah.
pour money into, like, they love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there's the alumni stuff. There's also just making a lot of money from people going to the games. So a successful football team can actually bring a lot of funding to
Oh, yeah.
the arts at that school as well.
Oh yeah. Same thing with basketball and baseball also.
Yeah, like the big name
Yeah.
sports.
Actually, all the sports, honestly, school should be on this list too.
I had that thought too.
think
I
about
almost
it.
included a couple
Like,
others.
They
but
make
Yeah.
everything at the school like way more interesting.
Yeah, like I've definitely grown a lot since I was in high school. I used to be very bitter about the sports at my high school, and now I've gained a lot of appreciation, not just from anime, but anime has helped. I'm not gonna lie.
Anime helps with everything.
yeah.
Yeah, but like our water polo team was super great at my school, like statewide. State being California, and our women's volleyball team was also really successful, and that was really important.
IQ.
And that was like one of the reasons our schools, IQ. That's one of the reasons our school was doing well. So I would also want to go to the Eyeshield 21 school just because I feel like there'd be a lot of opportunities there.
And they're the
Oh, yeah.
demons, which is kind of goofy and cool.
yeah, good mascot. Next one, not a high school, not even a school, not technically a school, but yeah, I think you put this on, Mike.
Oh no,
Nope,
I
I
didn't.
did.
Oh,
I
you
also
did.
did that one. I'm the culprit in all of these, by the way. But I couldn't say no because the Hero Association and One Punch Man is so cool.
Yeah.
I want to hang out with those people and be an S-ranked hero.
Yeah, like I like that.
Homework is beating up bad guys.
Yeah, like it's sort of the same school structure where you kind of have to apply to get a rank. You can rank up. You have to write an essay.
I have to write an
There's-
essay and
there's-
do a physical test.
Yeah, there's application and theory. Again, this kind of goes back to the like Totsuki when we talked about Food Wars. I like a school that's very skill focused.
Right.
And so the Hero Association is, super skill focused. You don't
Sure.
have to
You got to learn how to ride a bike.
Yeah, you have to broaden your horizons as far as they apply to your job.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be bogged down with things that don't matter to you at all, which was one of my
It's like a
frustrations.
vocational school.
Yeah, it was
There
one of
you
my
go.
frustrations in high school. I was like, okay, I don't want to take this class.
Yeah.
I just want to learn about this thing. Yeah, I think that's a good choice. I like that out of the box thinking, Megan. Good job.
I just wanted to talk about One Punch Man. I'll just be straight up with you guys.
Well,
I'm like,
we're
yeah, but Saitama.
One Punch Man's great.
What's is it?
Yeah.
Next up is
Not me.
not you, it's Megan.
I'm gonna get kicked off
Although
this show.
I do like this answer though.
So the Magic Guild from Fairy Tail, because again, it's vocational and it's skill based,
Yeah.
and you have to know magic. And I really
Yeah.
want to hang out with Natsu and Gray and Lucy and the entire cast, and they all do have some specific talent that they had to
Yeah.
I can't
basically level up
Yeah.
and acquire knowledge about.
I can totally see it as a school. I mean, there are anime where schools are like they're training like witches or magic users.
There were a couple that I almost mentioned, but since I hadn't seen enough of the shows,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I'm not going to put
Totally.
them on the list.
Yeah, yeah.
But
That's
Exactly.
where you come in, listeners.
that's right. What is your
Slash viewers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What are your favorite
Yeah.
high schools and anime schools?
Yeah, I think that's a good choice. And
Actually,
then just
speaking of the next one.
Yeah, speaking of magic schools, the last one I put on was Luna Nova Magical Academy from Little Witch Academia. Just because I want to be a witch.
I want to learn potions and spells.
There you go.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, like Megan said, we can't name them all. So please let us know if you think of any other schools that you'd want to go to in anime. You can let us know in the comments, and we want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. What are some bad schools?
There we
What are the
go.
worst schools?
This is what I've been waiting for.
This is a good one.
My first thought when I thought of this category was school life.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So this one's it's kind of a double-edged thing because that school was
Amazing.
amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It had everything. It had its own generator, and it has
Gardens
Gardens, and in the first episode, Yuki's like talking about that's her name, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, there's too many Yukis. When you watch a lot of anime at once, the names blur together. But she's like talking about, I love my school. It has all these facilities. It's, there's a music room and a science lab and all this stuff and the garden on the top. But also, there's something sinister going on at that school. Spoilers for School Live. Mute your ears.
Mute your ears.
I was
Mute
gonna
your
say
ears.
mute the show
show.
or close your ears, and then But really fast. That school was designed basically for an impending
Catastrophe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely wouldn't want to go there because I'd probably be dead. Number one, let's be real, I probably wouldn't have survived. I'd like to think that I would survive a zombie apocalypse. Like I'd like to think I'd be like, yeah, I'll fight you. But I mean,
I probably would have been
Yeah.
I would have been patient zero.
like I the other day I went to grab several different things because I was doing laundry, and every single thing I grabbed I dropped. So that's the kind of clumsy I am, where I'd probably be like, yeah, I'm ready to fight you, and I'd get my shovel, and then I would just like accidentally throw it or something. So
Fly out of your hand.
Yeah, definitely don't want to go there because we'd all be dead.
Although it just occurred to me, how come they had no guns or swords at that school? Everyone knows a zombie apocalypse, you got to have a shotgun. And it's like the one thing they
a
didn't.
sawed-off.
Point.
Yeah, you have to have a sawed-off shotgun. How come this school was like, you can sustain life, but you can't protect life?
Because the school was not in America.
Pretty much. But just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Where's the lie? Yeah, next up is the school from Erased. That is an elementary school, but also that town has some messed up stuff going on.
Yes, it does.
I wouldn't want to be a small child in that town. The school seems sort of like average,
yeah, it's an average school, but
like
the adults
Yep.
in these kids' lives are terrible, and they're
Yeah,
all
every-
luckless children, and it's
I
like,
know.
woof.
so so watching that show, the people's houses seem super small. It's like not a super wealthy town, which is fine, but the school seems kind of like drab, and they do have ice hockey, which is cool.
Yeah.
There's ice hockey championships going on, 1988.
Yeah, 1988 ice hockey champion.
But yeah, I would really want to steer clear of that.
Yeah,
That's
that's
cool.
an unfortunate
Yeah.
school. Like, don't go there. Go anywhere else.
Yeah, watch the show, but don't go to that school.
Yeah, don't go to that school.
I'm curious how the other kids in Erased are now, because we only know, the main character and what he's been doing,
Yeah.
but the other, his little friends, whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool to see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The next one.
I added this one. This is, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Cromartie High School. I couldn't find a stream for it. I've seen part of the first episode, but it's basically a high school of juvenile delinquents. They're all basically thugs.
Sweet.
And I just remember the first episode is like this one guy takes this stack of pencils, pointy end first, and bites the heads off the pencils and spits them out because he's just that insane. And all the characters are like that, like they're trying to one-up each other about how bad and cool they are. And it's the kind of place where it's like, you know, you don't want to go to a school that's completely for thugs.
I'd be eaten alive.
I would literally be eaten alive. So
I'd be
yikes.
like, I just want to make everyone banana bread, and they'd be like, "We'll kill you."
Yeah, I would be I'd be the gopher of that high school. They'd be like, "Hey, go get me a sandwich right now."
Yeah, I would definitely be the person who's just like, "Okay," and like is trying to just get through. I'd be like, "Okay."
Without getting beat up.
Yeah,
God.
that's kind of how I felt in middle school, honestly. Like in middle school, not that people were gonna physically beat me up, but like everybody was just sort of mean, and so like all through middle school, I was just like head down, just like pretend you don't like anime because no one will be mean to you.
Middle
Like,
school was literally the worst.
Yeah.
You could not pay me to go back to middle school.
Oof.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
you could pay me to go to some of those other schools we talked about,
Yeah.
but not Cromartie.
But not Cromartie High School. Don't go there.
The next one is the junior high from Attack on Titan Junior High, which I
obvious
dropped, by the
reasons.
way. I had talked about that like weeks and weeks ago.
Yeah.
The novelty war, it should have been an OVA,
Yeah.
let's be real. But Titans are bullies. They steal your lunch.
Exactly.
It doesn't seem fun. You could accidentally wander into a side of the school that's like way too big for you.
Yeah.
Can you imagine walking in and like the desk is like a building to you and you can't even pick up an eraser and you're just kind of like, all right, time to learn, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
That is another example.
I feel like,
Like-
there'll be earthquakes like every day from just them walking around.
Right? Or you'd have to run around trying not to get stepped on
Yeah.
Yeah.
as they're walking to school because the Titans have to walk to school too.
You can literally die.
Yeah, you literally die on the way to school.
Yeah. Another example of something that reminds me how much middle school blew.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's just a metaphor for what, like, in middle school, you feel very small.
Yeah.
Or I did, at least. I felt very small, and everybody was just like a big personality that steps on you, and that is just what the Titans are. I'm not trying to, like, I lived through it, and I read manga, and it was fine. I lived through middle school. I'm alive. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like even if the Titans weren't there, just the fact that it's a middle school means that it goes on this list.
Yeah. You think they would have had different campuses, like not on the same campus?
Right?
Yeah.
Like really?
You'd think so, but
It's some adults' idea of like, you know how adults would do these like group things? They'd make you get into groups and talk about how everyone likes each other. Name one thing you like about each other. And it's like all of like your worst enemies in your class. Like everyone hates you and you're like, this is going to get awkward.
okay, my teacher never made me do that, and I'm really happy because
Oh no, we had that where we had a thing
really?
in high school where we had to go around and be like, name one nice thing about everybody. So luckily my best friend was in that class and she said something nice and there was like this 10-second pause where nobody raised their hand. Finally one girl goes, you know what I like about you, Megan? She's flipping through a mental Rolodex. Competent. And that was my compliment, was I was competent. Because she couldn't say the B word. And apparently, I'd see no one bullied me because no one messed with me. Something about the way I carry myself. But I'll never forget that 10-second pause. You're competent.
that's the nice way of putting it.
That's a nice way
Oh,
of putting
geez.
it. So yeah, that's just an extension of just crummy school memories. Moving on.
Speaking of people trampling all over you, I want to talk about Honoji Academy from Kill la Kill. I love that show. That school sucks. It's ruled by Ragyo Kiryuin, who's the worst. I mean, she's like the best, but the worst. Because she's like fabulous, but also she'll kill you.
Yeah. She'll crack the whip.
I like the clubs in Honoji Academy. Like, I like that there's a fight club. I mean, like, I wouldn't want to go to that school. I think it's very entertaining that there's a fight club. If I went to a school with a fight club, that would be really bad. I hope nobody has to go to a high school that has a fight club.
Yeah, especially if you're required to be in it. Like someone
be in a
forces you to
club,
be in
yeah.
it.
Oh, man.
And like all of the leaders of the clubs are like awful. Like the tennis club president is like, she's so mean. And
It's the worst.
the people who aren't club presidents are just all the same. Again, I love the show, and this is all all of these things are reasons why the show's great, but why the school is really bad.
Yeah, the school sucks.
Imagine going. No thanks.
Yeah.
And then the last one.
Oh, I put this here. Anti-Magic Academy. It's okay. So this is weird. It's kind of like the academy for actually no, it is the Academy of Witch Hunters.
All right.
And they train to take out witches. But yeah, they're kids, and like they'll go out and take out people. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, how old are you again? And
Oh gosh.
and then they get points for completing missions. So like the protagonists, they're like the Molly crew of anti Magic Academy. So like they're like the worst like team, and so they're trying to like just get points just to like get higher ranking. I'm like, cool. So, all right, is it worth it? No, no, definitely not.
All right. Yeah, so there's just some terrible schools.
Oh, yeah.
If you could think of any other examples, 'cause I'm sure we missed some, that might be a fun thing to have a discussion about. So let us know in the comments. Moving right along to why anime school, specifically anime high school, is better than real school. Because I truly believe that
Oh, no, yeah.
in most cases, anime high school is like 1,000 times better than
Oh, yeah.
real life high school. If you were like me and you went to a school that maybe you didn't like being at so much. But I think the one thing, and a lot of anime deals with this, is clubs. Club activity is super big. And, you know, my high school had clubs, but it wasn't, like, people didn't even have time for clubs. Like, we were so busy doing homework, we didn't even have time to think about joining a club. But in an anime high school, it's like the first thing you do. You go to the school fair, and you pick out your club, and you join, and that's where all your friends are. And you have a little community, and then you have a whole show about how you're going to win the music competition.
Yeah, it's like, and they always have multiple clubs, like not just one or two, but they have like music clubs, tons of sports clubs.
Yep.
They have anime clubs. They have like art clubs. They have science clubs, and
And
you're like,
it's huge.
wow, I have so many choices, and you'll fit into at least one group.
Tea ceremony club. Like,
Yeah.
I
Cooking clubs, all that stuff.
I feel like if I went to anime high school, I would never go to class. I would just join 1,000 clubs, and that would be my whole high school experience. Because that brings me to my next point. Kids at anime high school don't do homework.
Nope.
They don't do homework. When's the last time you saw an anime high schooler doing homework for real? You don't.
Not
I saw them
homework, no.
try.
They try.
They try.
Yeah.
Like Sailor Moon is always flunking tests and always falling asleep to homework. And we know it exists somewhere, but I never
Yeah.
actually see her doing math problems.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Especially like for sports anime, like they'll be like, we need to study to pass our test, or we can't play in the next match or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you never
then,
see
like-
them study or do homework.
Yeah.
And then like magically we did it. Yay!
Yeah.
In sometimes there's like the Megane character, the glasses character.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes that character will be doing homework. But like that's their whole character
Yeah.
is I'm the responsible one who does homework. Or like in Nisekoi, Chitoge teaches them English because she's part American.
Yeah.
But like that was more of a flirty, friendly thing than an actual studying thing. Like I really think they actually in anime high school you have fun when you study and you do it for like 30 minutes and then you go back to having a romance.
I'm surprised there's not an anime about study hall. Like how to properly study. The anime. I feel like there's been an anime about
Oh my
everything
gosh.
else.
That would be.
If
yeah.
there is,
can
please let me
see
know
that.
because I would watch it.
I would watch it. I wasn't even kidding.
I can
I
totally
would
see
watch
that.
Study Hall the anime.
Study Hall the
I would
anime.
watch Breakfast Club the
I
anime.
just was gonna say, you know
Yeah.
what? That leads to Breakfast Club, the anime.
Yeah.
That would be
which,
amazing.
You know, is also like if detention was your entire high school experience. That'd be pretty cool because you're just making friends, you're bonding, and you get someone with a boombox at your window, and it's cool. The 80s.
Have you ever seen detention in anime high schools?
I don't see a
can't
lot of
think.
punishment in anime high schools.
Again,
Right?
Sailor Moon, I remember a couple of times
Yeah.
she'll come in late or whatever and she has to hold a bucket of water outside.
Yeah,
of
they
school.
always have to
okay.
hold a bucket of water.
Yeah, they always like you see them briefly being punished for something, but I
Yeah.
don't think the whole focus is Breakfast Club type detention.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like I pretend to be a high school student, but really I have my whole other life going on.
Yeah.
Which segues into my third point is dating in anime high school is actually cool.
Yeah. Like super cool.
Like, so I remember like being in high school and being like, can't wait to date. It's going to be so fun. And it was not. Dating when you're like 15 is so awkward and weird, and like no one knows what's going on, and you're kind of like, I like Pokemon. Do you like Pokemon? Yeah. Okay, never mind. Bye. I give up. I'm scared. No. But in anime, you're like, which boy should I choose?
Yes.
There are 5 options. They all fall into different categories. There's the jock. There's the studious one. There's the prep. There's the bad boy. There's the student council president. Like, who should I pick? What if I picked them all?
And the reverse is all the girls
Yeah.
will fawn over the main character in harem.
There's,
It doesn't matter how average he is or like how poorly he does in school. They're just all over him.
You could be the worst, and in anime high school, you would still get a date, probably.
Yeah.
Or your friends would conspire to get you a date, or there'd be something fun,
And you wouldn't
Valentine's
just-
Day chocolates.
You would date the hottest, best person at school. It's almost always guaranteed that you will fall in love and they will fall in love with you.
If they have an interesting color hair, chances are they're your romantic interest.
You're in.
Chances are that's who you should be dating next time you see someone with cool pink hair. You're like, you might be a protagonist in my show.
Exactly.
I like that. And then the fourth and like final thing I really thought about when I was thinking, why do I want to go to anime high school so badly? It's because anime characters, even teenagers, are pretty adult. Like we've had a episode about this, about youth in anime and how youth is portrayed in anime. But specifically, like anime high schoolers have their own lives, and their inner lives are rich, and they're struggling with like teenager things like, oh my gosh, I gained some weight. If you're like Sailor Moon thinking about how you eat so much. If you're Usagi, you're like, oh God, I'm going to get fat eating. And I'm like, don't worry about it, Usagi. You're like 16.
Right.
I don't know if this is just like me being an adult now and reflecting on my teenage self and being like, wow, I was like not a full person yet. Because I don't know if you all like are a full person when you're 16. Like you're a person, but you still have like some growing to do.
Oh yeah.
Your brain has matured. Like your brain isn't done growing and like changing until you're 25 or something like that. So I look back on my high school self and I'm like, what did I even do all like besides like study and
Anime.
and think about how I wish anime boys were real so they could be nice to me. Not really. I actually never thought about that. I was really
For me, I was like, how come people in these anime high schools are so much more mature and responsible and nice to each other? Like, they never come up to me like, is that what you're wearing? Is that what you're wearing?
Yeah.
Is that what you're wearing?
like there's mean girls, or mean boys, depending on what genre you're watching.
But you usually can, like in anime, you can win them over.
Yeah.
Whereas that's impossible in high school. Like you go up to the mean girl and be like, oh, I like your dress. And she's like, what would you know about fashion? Where in like anime, it'd be like, oh, wow, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Like, let's be friends. Like there's
It's like, oh, you weren't as bad as I once thought you were.
yeah.
Kohai or whatever. That's what I mean is like, not only is the protagonist usually more adult in some way than I remember myself being, everybody around them is typically a little more mature, and I feel like that's what makes the experience like enviable.
Right.
When I'm watching anime high school, I'm like, man, if I had just gone to a high school like this where everyone was mature, and I'm like, that probably doesn't exist because 16-year-olds aren't like this. But if I had for real gone to an anime high school, I just would have been like, wow, I'm an adult. I'm so great. I have my own life, and I'm a magical girl at night or whatever.
Yeah. It's like, when you got to save the world, you got to grow up.
Yeah. Like, I mean, when I was in high school, all I thought about was what college I wanted to go to and how to get into college. That's pretty much all I had room in my brain for.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing though, is like, if you're in high school or middle school right now and you're struggling, I know it does not feel like it. I remember this feeling very distinctly, but it does get better when people become adults and they start getting real responsibilities. They no longer care about what you're wearing or what you listen to or whatever. They have real responsibilities. They're maturing. And then the people you thought you could never be friends with, you're like, oh, now we're friends. So it gets better, I promise.
Those 4 years feel like, or 3 years, depending on what kind of high school you go to, feel like an eternity. For sure, and that's kind of why I would turn to things like manga and anime to kind of escape from that, like, why isn't my life like this? But it does end. Like, those 4 years do have to end at some point. And it can be helpful to, I mean, I think people have talked about this in the Facebook group or sent emails about like how anime helps them feel more less lonely, or like talking to people about anime. And I think that's one of the escapism things. Like if you're having a hard time, especially in high school or middle school, especially like middle school in particular can be really, really hard. Having a place to go where people get it is super important. And I think that was what anime and manga was for me, and video games too.
Yep.
And hopefully that helps you too. Hopefully seeing like, hey, people can be nice in a nice high school anime.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Plus, it gets way better in college.
Yeah, and
it
then
does.
college, and then everybody's like, wait,
Do whatever you want.
all I want to do is get free cereal. That's all I care about. Yeah, so let us know. Maybe you do like your high school, but what's your ideal anime high school? Why is anime high school so compelling, and why are there so many club shows? Let us know in the comments. And I think we are sort of running short on time, so we're just going to go right into the watch party.
Sweet.
This is our final watch party for Gurren Lagann.
It is.
We made it, guys.
We did. We
We
did
made
it.
it. If you aren't participating in this watch party, hold on for a second, because next week we won't be having a watch party. We'll hopefully be having a guest on. Next week is also GDC. But we will have a poll in this article. If you're on IGN.com, or go to IGN.com if you're watching on the PS4 app or the Xbox One app or somewhere else, or if you're on iTunes, you can vote, participate in that poll to decide on the next watch party. If you would like to partake in the next one, because we want it to be chosen by you. So, moving forward, episode 27,
Yes,
The finale.
we made it.
the finale. So I watched this episode with my boyfriend over the weekend, and because he was like so excited for me to finish the show, he's like, "You want to watch the last episode?" I was like, "Yeah." And as soon as it was over, I was just kind of like curled up on the bed, like, oh my gosh. And he was like, this show's so amazing because it starts out literally in a hole in the ground and it ends with a mech bigger than galaxies. And I really liked that. I really liked that was the most succinct way to put up the incredible scale of this show. Is it goes from nothing to everything.
Okay.
And I think the themes of Gurren Lagann are really apparent in the last couple episodes, and then this episode pretty much ties everything together about like hope and determination and the power of believing, and like really the power of believing,
Yeah.
because they're like thinking about Earth and like it appears.
Oh, yeah.
That's the coolest thing.
Oh, yeah. No.
Do you still not like it?
This show really tests my patience when it comes to suspending my disbelief. Like the last episode was so ridiculous, where the Anti-Spiral's like
Oh.
grabbing galaxies,
Oh,
and like
yeah.
smashing them together, and it's like,
Awesome. No.
this is getting a little much.
The whole time that
people.
was happening, I was like, a bunch of planets just like got obliterated.
I know. I'm like,
Yeah, the show went full space.
it went
And
full sci-fi.
It went full sci-fi, and I
Yeah.
mean, space ocean is like, what's going to top space ocean?
Yeah.
We're going to grab
Billions
galaxies
of
and smash them
species
together.
died in that battle.
A lot more was sacrificed than just Keaton rip. So, as always, Kevin S. has provided a lovely final analysis of
Yes.
Gurren Lagann. Thank
There
you,
it is.
Kevin S., so much for the weekly updates and breakdowns. So I just selected a little bit. He points out that Tengen-Toppa Gurren Lagann, the final form of Gurren Lagann, the giant one, is measured at the height of 10 million light years, which is the largest mech to date. 10 million light years, like tall, which is outrageous, especially starting from a little head that
How
Simone the
would
Digger
you
found.
even measure that? Like, how would the team even know this?
You know, so I know a little bit about astrophysics, not really. I watched Nova a couple of times, and
Good show.
it's good. It's good.
show.
Would recommend.
Nova.
You can calculate that based on how long it takes light to travel. That's what a light year is. But also, there's no way they'd be able to do that.
We
So-
get out like a giant tape measure, or
If you
like
think
what-
really hard.
If you
about
wish it, it'll come true. Like we'll think about Earth and it just magically appear. Okay, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that everybody came together.
Yes.
And the spirit of Team Gurren is alive. And okay, really fast, I want to talk about Yoko in a suit at that wedding because I love that they put her in a suit.
I thought that was a really cool twist.
Yeah,
I thought they were gonna do like another type of battle bikini, and they're like, no, he's gonna wear a suit.
She's wearing a suit because that's like that, and it totally fits her character too. And I just really liked that choice. I don't know, like, it really stuck out to me. I was like, yes, Yoko in a suit. That wedding was they love each other so much, and I want to point out that they use like ai instead of like daisuki, which is like a more powerful. In Japanese, like there's a linguistic distinction between like daisuki, which is sometimes used and translated in some shows as like I love you, but they use ai, like ai, which is aishiteru, which is
a lot deeper.
And I had to turn to my boyfriend and explain to him. I was like tears in my eyes, like, oh, they love each other so much. And then there's also an epilogue. If you didn't watch the epilogue, if you didn't stick around for the end, watch the epilogue.
The epilogue is cool.
But Kevin S. points out some really cool details in the epilogue. So he says, the first is Rossio. He greatly resembles Father Magin. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. The guy from Rossio's old village, the leader. He resembles Father Magin in his old age, and in both the Japanese and English versions, old Rossio and Magin have the same voice actor.
That's cool.
Which is cool. That's a cool parallel.
Nice.
Like, because, you know, Rossio kind of grew into him. Like he kind of
he had to make those tough decisions.
The tough decisions that Father Magin had to make, and so I really like that they
parallel.
You know, they drew that parallel.
Yeah.
The next thing Kevin says is Simone is shown at the end of the epilogue. It's not said in the show, but maybe some of you picked it up. Old Simone is actually the narrator that has been narrating the show at the beginning of the episodes.
What?
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
A cool callback.
Yeah, and then there's a couple fun facts. The creators thought the ending of Gurren Lagann wouldn't have worked if they ended on a happy note. Gainax ended episode 27 with their budget nearly depleted. If they made more than 26 episodes, omitting the compilation one, they would have risked bankruptcy.
Wow.
There's a Gurren Lagann movie with the ending having little differences between the series. For example, Simone keeps Nia's ring in the movie instead of leaving it on her grave. But yeah, I thought I really loved this as a final episode.
Yeah.
I was telling my boyfriend, like, I feel like I need to watch the whole show again, like starting tonight. Like I just need to rewatch it to really have an appreciation for how they're weaving these threads throughout the series. Because, you know, going back to when we first started this watch party, I was sort of in Megan's boat still, where I was kind of like, I don't really see why people recommend this so highly. I'm enjoying it, but I don't know, like I don't get it. And now I feel like I really get it, and I really appreciate the show. And its themes a lot, and I'm really glad we watched it for the watch party and got to pick it apart. And as we got into these later episodes, I feel like I've had more and more to say. Of course, it's still fine if you don't enjoy the show.
It's not that I don't enjoy the show, but I still have. I feel like this could have been 12 to 22 episodes. They could have tightened it up. I felt like my biggest issue was the pacing, and because until literally episode 18, I didn't really care about this show that much. And then it really starts tying things together in an excellent way with the anti-spirals and all the callbacks. But the fact that I'm asking people to get to episode 18, that's kind of a hard thing for me personally.
I think that's fair. I did. When we were going into the show, I was like, the pacing is super weird. Like, we're really taking a long time to get to the point. Because at the beginning of the show, like, the first, 8 episodes is very much, like, gung-ho action. And I was kind of like, okay, I'm not really saying what the point is.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it gets there.
It gets there.
But, I don't know. I'm one of those people, I like watching 12-episode shows. I like something that I can start and finish.
Yeah.
I'm like that with games too. I really like playing 2-hour story games because it's something I can start and finish. And so I get that point where you're like, okay, if you're not liking it, stick around, just keep watching it. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a hard show to recommend. It gets recommended a lot. People recommend it all the time.
It does. I wish that it had just been a shorter, because I love the overarching themes, but to get there, I thought it could have been done in.
Do you think building up the support characters? Because there's a lot.
Yeah.
There were a lot of
Do you think it
support
helped
characters,
in the end?
and I
I
feel
think
like
it paid off.
I think it eventually paid off, but the truth is that was also kind of part of the problem with the beginning for me, which is I don't care about these people. Why are you shoving them all in my face at once? Because
There's
all
a
of a
lot,
sudden
yeah.
get 5 extra characters. Like, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for that main battle, when they finally fought the anti-spiral. What was cool about, there was a good just frame of them all together.
yeah,
When he finally breaks in and saves Nia, and honestly, from that crew, I couldn't name a few, unfortunately. But seeing the team together there at the same moment to save Nia, it's great. Actually, I have a quote here. Simone says, "Don't underestimate us. We don't care about time or space or extra dimensional whatevers. Force your way down a path you choose to take and do it your way," which is really cool. Like it's not only good for the show, but it kind of, as a viewer, you're like, you can do anything if you set your mind to it. Which I appreciate that theme from this anime.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite shows I've seen, and I'm really glad we did it for the watch party because I don't know if I would have continued watching it if I just started it on my own. Like I would have been like, okay,
Yeah.
my husband died, so okay.
Yeah.
But watching every week and really going in depth with it actually enhanced my enjoyment of it. And like I said, I kind of want to just rewatch it on my own time, on my own terms, and just kind of absorb it.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Oh, also that when he finally does have that final attack on the anti-spiral and seeing the Tegan Topa Gurren Lagann break away its armor as it gets closer and closer to the finally Lagann, we're right where you started.
That's so
It's
cool.
so
Yeah,
great.
it all
I
comes
love
from-
that.
yeah. That is the
scene.
one thing I really like about the show. It does all tie together
Yeah.
at the end. So
Yeah.
that is really cool.
Yeah.
So anyways, next watch party.
Yeah.
Help us decide, please.
Yes.
Viewers, listeners, help us
I'm
decide.
excited.
Yeah, we've been narrowing it down for a while, so we'll put the poll in the article. Look out for that on IGN.com, of course. And lastly, you can find us all on Twitter. Mike, where are you?
You can find me at XP M&Ms.
Cool.
You can find me at Megan, MEGHAN_IGN.
I'm at Inky Dojiko, INKYDOJIKKO. Anything you guys are working on?
Not that I can think of.
I've got a preview coming up for Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's a big, gigantic preview, so it should be up sometime later this week. And I am working on a review, which I will talk about later. So,
Yay.
yes, look forward to that.
Yeah.
What about you, Callie?
I've been doing a lot of Pokemon feature stuff.
Hey.
I helped with a 5 things you might have missed from the Pokemon Sun and Moon announcement video. I did 7 changes we want in Pokemon Sun and Moon. So it's just things I think that need to be. We had like a brainstorm pool, but things we think need to be updated as this new generation arrives. I do a lot of Pokemon stuff now. Pokemon's my whole life.
Not a bad life.
No, it's
yeah.
great. And of course, upcoming anime features, always keep an eye out for that because we are working on those. We have lots of cool ideas and we can't wait to share them with you. Thank you all so much for joining us for episode 45. We will see you next week. Yay, anime!
All right.
Yay,
Yay, anime.
anime.